On this episode, we do the wrong thing just because we can. Welcome to Save Every Universe. My name is Alec Garcia. I am a traveling salesman that follows you to just about every stable and sounds suspiciously like Mario.
My name is Robbie. I'm an adventurer who was raised in the Heroes Guild and now must defeat Jack of Blades and choose between saving my sister or sacrificing her for the ultimate power.
What is that one? That sounds so familiar.
Oh yeah, it's going to bug the shit out of you.
Yeah, it really is. Last week I was Toad from Mario because I forgot to have
the shortest intro ever.
Right?
I'm a mushroom.
Well, my Yonoid was pretty short. I'm a pizza mascot with a yo-yo. Yeah, anyway, who were you
last week? I think you pronounce this Professor Kukui.
Okay.
He's the professor from the Pokemon Sun and Moon. And he's a goofball.
He lets himself get beat up for research, right? Is what you're telling me?
He moonlights and shows up as a luchador trainer in other places. He's crazy, but he's a really entertaining character.
So today we are talking about morality in video games. And as we started to research and prepare, we sort of had an idea and we found out that this is one of those really strange niches that if you do a couple Google searches about morality in video games, it gets really broad and really weird really fast. It's everything from cognitive social behavior theories and academic research papers to preachers on YouTube videos talking about how games are evil and they'll ruin your life, or how they're not, but it's the intent of your heart. And you can find just the biggest range of weird stuff when it comes to morality in games. But really what we're going to talk about today stemmed from a conversation that you had mentioned that you had with a friend. Do you want to introduce that a little bit?
Yeah, I actually had a couple experiences in college. I had a friend who is very traditional Catholic, and we had a big argument about, we were playing World of Warcraft together at the time. He started arguing the nature of sins with me. And I was like, that's fine. And I really enjoy those types of debates. So I was like, yeah, let's do this. Let's talk about this. And so he was talking about how you can do anything you want in a video game and it can't be a sin. And I was like, well, that seems a little weird, right? Because surely your mindset has something to do with the effect, which now in legal terms, it's mentis reus. Guys, I haven't graduated yet, so whatever. But, it's the mindset of doing a crime is what you'd have to prove in the criminal law aspect, right? So I brought up to him, I was like, shouldn't that be weighed in the sin category? What's your mindset, right? And he just lost it and flipped it out, almost I need this. I need to be able to do whatever I want in a video game. And he got really heated. Yeah. And I kind of just backed off because I was like, okay, I don't want to ruin a friendship over this. But it's something that it's always kind of been on my mind, the way you treat. So in episode 10 with Marcus, we talked about, racism and our language and our hate, blatantly.
It's still racism to say a racial slur to another human on the other end of a headset. It's still you're a person talking to a person. Yeah.
Right. But
is what we talked about.
In this episode, I'm kind of wanting to explore a little bit more the idea of how you treat somebody. Griefing is something that some people use. In a game like World of Warcraft, you can't actually speak with the other faction, but you can do a lot of things that make their life
to mess
shitty.
With people.
Yeah.
And
you can do that in a lot of games. So I thought maybe we should explore, is that a moral thing? Can you do that and not feel kind of icky about it?
Yeah.
And I have had experiences too, like you were saying about the YouTube videos, where I went to, I think it was a Presbyterian, but I went to a church college study, and the pastor had made his verdict on WoW.
Right.
And he had played it for about 2 hours, and he had decided it was not God's work. I was a little offended by this guy. I'm like, you know what? You're not a gamer.
Yeah.
And there's no scripture supporting your stance. Not really.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important for gamers us to talk about this and take some charge of this conversation.
Yeah. And this isn't just for anyone who's not a person of faith orientation or whatever. We're not going to talk too much about is it a sin or not or anything like that, but just does your behavior online matter? If you treat someone else badly in a video game, does that matter? Is it wrong?
And should your personal moral compass affect how you treat people online? Is there kind of
because some people do bring an attitude of it's just a game, it doesn't matter to everything that they do and say in a video game, and it just doesn't count because it's online, because it's there's a veil of digital representation between you and that other person.
Right.
And how one of the other things we had talked about leading up to this was with VR and those kinds of things, and as things get more immersive and more realistic, where is the line? If someone wants to download off of the dark web a murder simulator or a rape simulator,
right?
Where's the line where digital experiences become morally wrong? I don't know if we'll go that far down the rabbit hole, but
so in criminal law they'll have the mental motivation and then actus reus, which is the action itself. But you're halfway there to a criminal, to a felony. You know what I mean, by doing something like a rape simulator or something. So it's worth at least talking about. So let me start with a story that I'm not a good guy in this story, so I'm not here to act high and mighty. At my school, my undergraduate, they had Second Life as an education tool.
Yeah, this is a good story.
And
It's a funny story. I don't know if it's a good story. It's a funny story.
It's funny. So it was Second Life, and for those of you who are not familiar with Second Life is like there's a funny example on The Office. I don't remember what episode, but it's like a online forum, but you have an avatar. You can customize that avatar. There are people who do in-game businesses with like real estate and digital goods, and it's a Second Life. It's not a video game. There's not really, I mean, I think there might be mini games in it. You can fly in it.
But there's not combat, there's not leveling, there's none of that.
Right. And there's not gear in the like gaming traditional sense. So I loaded up this avatar. I had to go to this island to explore whatever educational concept my professor decided this was the best medium to convey this in, right? And I can't help but approach it like a gamer. I mean, I was playing MMOs, right? So you start in the starting island and they have all these free goods you can get. So I start downloading like Darth Vader suits and Iron Man suits and spaceships, which are all in, I guess, a game. They're all in the simulator, right?
The virtual world, though, yeah.
So I was like, cool. So I deck my dude out in Iron Man clothes, change all these animations, and I get a UFO.
Yeah.
And I looked up in the world where this island is I'm supposed to go to, and I was like, I'll just go manually in my UFO. Well, in Second Life, there's clipping where you can actually bump into other players and move where they are in the digital space. This is like, if this was in World of Warcraft, you'd never get anywhere. People would just be trolling
all the time,
and like throwing you around and stuff. And I can't help it. I start in my UFO just flying through these zones and knocking people around like bowling balls. And I was laughing like a lunatic, and people were complaining. They're like, "Hey, get out of here, asshole. None of that." And I would like fly into the next zone before anybody could like ban me or report me or whatever. Yeah. And I just kind of did that all the way to this island. I spent like 3 hours just griefing people.
To be clear, this was like on a server that was like, it was like an island in a world that was run by the university.
Well,
so these were other
later it was.
Okay.
But I made my way to that island,
yeah,
griefing people all along the way. Like blowing through clothing stores, pushing people around. It was hilarious to me, right?
Not everyone was doing that as you were doing that. So
I didn't see a single other person. Everyone was like wearing normal-ish looking clothes.
So there was like a sense of order, though, for anyone else who's like a more dedicated Second Lifer, right? Who believes that there's like an order and this is how you behave in Second Life society and that kind of thing. Yeah.
And I completely betrayed all of that.
Right.
And people were upset and they take it very seriously. And I was clearly belittling what they thought was a very legitimate experience at their expense for my entertainment. And I've thought about that. I mean, I'd probably do it again just for this. I don't know. But that was a total asshole thing to do. It was a total dick move to just go screwing around with people, real people. It's not like they're NPCs.
Well, and like an equivalent would be like Destiny, like if you were going through the raid and halfway through, like 3 or 4 people out of the 6 just started like trolling you.
Yeah.
And you got nothing done. And it was disrespectful to the whole purpose of why you were there.
Exactly.
And,
they were there to like operate legitimate commerce.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Whatever. To them, it's legitimate commerce. It's real money. And I was just screwing everything up. Just trolling. Yeah. And I don't troll very often, but I was trolling. So what do you think of that?
I mean, it's fun. As a gamer, it's like kind of funny, right? But it's like, oh man. It is kind of annoying. Like I had a buddy who, I think it was in Battlefield, it might have been Bad Company 2, whatever, like the first one that was like really big online, that he'd strap C4 to Jeeps, he would just drive it into people and blow it up. And he didn't care about playing the game strategically or like a lot of the things that people care about in the Battlefield. And he would tell me about it and I was always like, haha, that's funny. But because I'm a fan of Battlefield, I was like, you are the person that like I hope you get banned. I hope like please get kicked out, the sooner the better. Yeah. Thank you very much. So it's kind of like the insider outsider thing that we've talked about before. Like, because when you tell me that story, I don't care about Second Life. I've never done Second Life. And I'm like, that's a hilarious story. But if it was like a Destiny raid or if it was Battlefield or something like that, I would be like, holy shit, I'm reporting this person now. Yeah. Please ban them. They're ruining my experience. Yeah. And so it's like, it is a person just being openly, blatantly disrespectful to everybody else.
It is. And the reason I like that example is because I think a gamer would approach that a little bit differently, right? Mm-hmm. Because, and maybe that's part of the affecting my morals. Like, I couldn't help but think of it like I was in Orgrimmar or something that's in World of Warcraft. Yeah. I see that look you're giving me. It's the capital of the Horde in Orgrimmar. And like, if I could have done that, of course course I would have done that, and so would like 90% of the people.
Yeah.
And everyone would have mostly thought it was funny. But then even in times in WoW, like you'll see people, there'll be a person you're going to talk to for a quest or something, and just to be dicks, everyone will get on their biggest, largest mount on dragons and elephants and cover the guy up so nobody can click on it.
Right.
And it's funny when you don't have to click on him, and then when you have to click on him, you're like, get the fuck out. Come on, this isn't funny. I only have an hour to play, you bastards.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I don't know.
It's a tough question, though, because it's like some of it is good-natured ribbing. Like, some people get really mad about teabagging. I don't see anything wrong with teabagging. It's like, to me, it's the gaming equivalent of like in football when they do like a little celebratory dance, which like they took away now in the NFL, a bunch of babies. Like, they should be able to do that. Like, if they did something good, you should be able to like celebrate or have like a little, like, it's good-natured shit talking, I think teabagging is. But
man, I can't stand it.
Really?
Oh yeah, and Jimmy, who's we know has a rage
from our
issue.
past episodes,
He's even worse.
Yeah.
He'll abandon the strategy, he'll abandon everything just to kill the guy that teabagged him.
Yeah.
And he puts out a report if you're playing with him where he's like, all right, this guy's kill on sight.
Yeah.
Do not let him, like, he's teabagging, drop everything and kill him.
I don't personally teabag, though, is the thing. And I have noticed there's the psychological principle of like social proof, right? Like if once someone does something, other people see. So like if you're in a line of cars, right? Everyone's like anxious and impatient and honking at each other. If one person is like, okay, I'm going to keep a cool head. I'm going to let people in. We're all going to move in an orderly fashion. We're all trying to get there. You'll start to see more people who saw someone be decent and then like, yeah, I should be decent too. I have noticed the same thing in gaming, right? If you're playing like Medic in Battlefield 1, there's like a rash of just crap medics. They play it because they like the semi-automatic rifles, but they don't revive, they don't heal, they don't whatever. But if you have in your squad, you get one person that starts doing it, you start to notice more medics doing it. And I've noticed this in Destiny too. If right off the bat you heal someone or you res somebody, like immediately the team, if you're playing with strangers, immediately is like, okay, this guy's being cool, I should be cool too. So I think there is a little bit of like a reciprocity that happens if you choose to take the high road. That's how I choose to game most of the time, I think.
So in WoW,
it's a better experience, I think, for everybody. I don't want to be the asshole buzzing the tower in Second Life. I want to be the guy who like is like a good example for like creating a good virtual experience. I know how cheesy that sounds, but overall that's how I choose to play.
In World of Warcraft, I played on a PvP server, and so there was something called ganking, and that's where it's just where you sneak up and kill somebody from the other side.
Yeah.
And you could get attacked at any time, no matter what, even
Right.
if you weren't like intentionally doing player versus player combat or something, right? So I had a friend who was like, look, if anybody ganks, I go back to my body, I stand up and I like clap,
Yeah.
which is just emoting. And he's like, and they're totally cool with it. I tried it, did not work. Like, in fact, his friend showed up and made sure I never got back to like on my feet again and kicked my feet out under me the second I'd get back.
Yeah.
So when you die, you have to like run back to your body, and it's a real pain in the ass.
Right.
They didn't let me get on my feet. And so the next week I was like, dude, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, it stopped working for me too. I was like, what? I don't know. Like, I would try and do a decency thing where if me and an enemy faction would run up on each other and we would like kind of it wasn't intended.
Yeah.
I would like wave or salute or something and be like, can we not do this right now? And most of the time they'd be like, yeah, cool. See ya, buddy. And then you'd like, sometimes though, you'd be like, cool, we're good.
Yeah.
And you'd turn your back and you'd start getting attacked. And you're like, God damn it,
Like
coward.
like my first experiences in the Dark Zone,
Yeah.
in the Division. Like there was a couple when the Division first launched. There was if it's the Tom Clancy game, it was like a big open world shooter. It's still going, I guess. A lot of people still play it.
There's actually a big update scheduled I just saw.
Oh, cool.
There's gonna be a huge free update for it.
Ooh, okay. We might have to get on that. But
play it again.
But yeah, the Dark Zone is like a big PvP place where the best loot is there, but it's like high risk. You go in, you kill some high level guys, you get some gear, and then you have to extract. And people
It's very, very white knuckle.
Yeah, and so you can run into other players in there that can kill you and take your loot. While you're extracting, they'll jump in and try to kill you before you evac and get your gear
Yeah,
out.
you can spend hours gathering stuff and
It's
lose
really
it all.
fun. But like, so when that game first launched, there was a couple of times in the very beginning where I would run into the Dark Zone solo, and I would just sort of, try to avoid people and get some gear out, sly as a fox. I would run across a couple teams where it was like 3 or 4 of them. I would have a good gun or something, and there's a surrender emote that you can do. And a couple of times I was like, hey, you got me dead in the water. I'm alone. You don't want to do this kind of thing. And I would put my hands up, and they would be cool, and they would just like let me go. But after enough people got hosed in the Dark Zone, I think like that.
You and I were
sense
together.
Of brotherly, like leave him alone. He's alone. That's too easy. We'll find bigger prey. That went away like within the first week or two.
I don't know. Yeah, you and I were together. It was the two of us, and we were watching each other's back, and there was like a group of 6 dudes come down the street. And
Yeah.
I was like, get down,
Yeah.
cover.
And I was like, no, I got
And so I
this.
ducked into the alley, and I was like, no, we can't take these guys. And so I took cover.
Yeah.
And you walked out on the middle of the street with your arms up, and I was like, get the fuck down. What are you doing? You're like, dude, these guys love me, and they just gunned you down.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
And that was the last time. That was the end of that.
I couldn't help you.
But
I mean,
it worked for me like 3 times when the Dark Zone first launched. There was like, as if there was like a good-natured, like we want to
That's what you say.
be respectful to each other in the
Yeah.
Dark Zone. And if it was a team, we might face off with you, but you're one person. How much loot could you have? And then that all went away.
So what do you think? Do you think you and I are less like... So I gave you the second life story because I'm not normally a troll, but I was.
Yeah.
Normally, I try and be good-natured. If I was rolling around, even if I outnumbered them, let's say, and when you, me, and Jimmy would be playing in the Dark Zone,
Yeah.
we didn't just shoot random people.
Right.
Somebody would maybe take a shot at us and we'd be like, all right, buddy, it's on.
Yeah,
And we'd
yeah.
gun them down. But in general, we were like, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
We're here to get the loot from the NPCs. Do you think there's like a transfer of like morality to real life? Do you think if it was like post-apocalyptic world, we would be more likely to live that way? Or is that unfair to make that comparison?
I think it's mostly unfair. I think some people do, like me. Like I like to talk crap. I like to like get in arguments and that kind of thing. But for the most part, my true nature is like I like to be sort of a peacekeeper for the most part. And I think I bring that to gaming. Like I don't want to be the troll. I don't want to be the griefer. Like someone has to push me really far before I send a message like what the hell, or if I troll somebody or drop out of something just to spite them. Like someone's got to push me really far. For the most part, like I want to be the person that reses first and gets the team off on a good foot and stuff like that. So those are people on the like, and for the most part, everyone's here to play a game and enjoy the game. And like I bring that to the game. Like I want that. Having said that, though, I do think there are times when you play a game just to take your real life frustration out.
Sure.
And that is better than taking it out in real life. It's like going to a batting cage and like hitting some balls or going whatever, like whatever it is that's that outlet for you. Sometimes that's it. And sometimes you catch people on a bad day and they're just going to be shitty and that's that. But that doesn't mean that they're, going to play Rape Simulator as soon as it comes out on VR. That doesn't make them a bad person taking out some frustration in a video game.
And I know Chris McHale brought up that point on the life-changing power of video games or whatever.
Right.
He said it's better to like take a Lamborghini in a simulator around a corner, or around a track
and
for
blow
a couple
some steam
hours.
off.
That's definitely true. I think it's easier too in games where like Battlefield, where it's like this is just combat. Like I don't really think too much. Like okay, technically I shot somebody else 20 times. Let's be honest, probably like 12, 13. But I shot
that
another
Lewis gun. And you just spray it around.
I killed some other people, but it wasn't because I had a murderous intent.
Yeah.
And I didn't even necessarily have to be like, I want to fucking kill somebody. I'm firing up Battlefield.
Yeah, all of those broad sweeping things that violent games make people violent from, I think, are just a bunch of
I think that's
poppycock.
baloney.
Like, because part of Battlefield as an example, even COD, it's a little twitchy and fast for me, but it's the same thing. It's a strategic mental exercise as much as it and reflex and stuff like that, as much as it is about shoot. It's more that than it is about shooting people.
I will say though, people when I see things like at the micro level, not like, oh, that guy's violent, therefore he's probably violently real life, but more like, really, dude, that's a fucking cowardly thing that you just did, or that was a shitty thing you just did, and you did it just to be a shit ass. I can't help but like sometimes be like, what kind of a person are you?
Yeah. So I would give my final thought on this would be that, I don't know, if it's like GTA and you're playing solo and stuff, GTA is not my personal cup of tea, but like it's a game. Like, and you go into it with the mentality that it's a game and you're not practicing to go out and shoot hookers in real life or something like that. But when you're playing online with other people, I personally think that you should treat it as if you are playing with other people, like especially in cooperative modes. If you're being a dick just to be a dick, man, I hope you get kicked off your basketball league that you play at the local city, because you should feel what it feels like, because you're being a shithead. Like it's...
Yeah, I think so too. And I don't know, like I can't help it if... there's the asshole thing. They might actually be an asshole in real life. But also, the flip side of that, if there's the guy who's really high level and he's in Destiny, and you can tell he's just helping out the little guys just to help him out. I mean, maybe he's not a great guy, but he can't be like a totally evil, villainous person in real life.
And that's something we haven't even gotten into, and that's something Destiny has done well, is like they've built community around it, where the clans that like help people through raids that even if they're brand new, and
there's going to be more of that in Destiny 2
MMOs and stuff too. But
there's going to be more of that in Destiny 2, where they're going to allow people to jump in with clans. Yeah. And I think we'll get to see new dynamics. Like somebody who is willing to do that can't totally be like a selfish asshole.
Well, and like, where does that desire come from to like help somebody? In online interaction, you should bring that into. Being anonymous doesn't give you an excuse to be a shithead. Like
Right.
you should do the right thing in like your life as best as you know how, and you should do that online too. It makes a better gaming experience for everybody.
Yeah, and I agree. I don't believe like we're completely compartmentalized.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of people out there who are probably going to think we're like bleeding hearts, wishful thinking because they enjoy being trolls and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. That doesn't add anything good to the gaming community, I don't think. Thank you for listening to Save Every Universe. If you enjoyed this episode, please go give us money at patreon.com/Save Every Universe.